I'm not ashamed to own my Lord, nor to defend his cause. Maintain the honors of his word, the glory of his cross.
If you have a Bible with you, you can turn to Exodus chapter 9. I'm going to be reading from verses 1 to 7. If you don't have a Bible, don't worry. Just follow along with us on the screen. The version that we'll be reading from is the New King James Version. So, Exodus chapter 9, beginning at verse 1. Then the Lord said to Moses, Go into Pharaoh and tell him, Thus says the Lord God of the Hebrews, Let my people go, that they may serve me. For if you refuse to let them go, and still hold them, behold, the hand of the Lord will be on your cattle in the field, on the horses, on the donkeys, on the camels, on the oxen, and on the sheep, a very severe pestilence. And the Lord will make a difference between the livestock of Israel and the livestock of Egypt. So nothing shall die of all that belongs to the children of Israel. Then the Lord appointed a set time, saying, Tomorrow the Lord will do this thing in the land. So the Lord did this thing on the next day, and all the livestock of Egypt died. But the livestock of the children of Israel, not one died. Then Pharaoh sent, and indeed not even one of the livestock of the Israelites was dead. But the heart of Pharaoh became hard, and he did not let the people go. For the last several lessons, we've been looking at the plagues that God inflicted upon Egypt. These plagues were sent by God in order to judge Egypt and the Pharaoh for his rebellion against God in refusing to let the children of Israel go. He began these plagues by turning the Nile River into blood. When Pharaoh refused to relent, God brought forth an overabundance of frogs from the Nile River. When Pharaoh still refused to relent, God struck the nation with lice or ticks. Still Pharaoh refused to relent, so he struck the nation with a swarm of flies, which were dog flies or stable flies. Pharaoh, like he did with the second plague, promised to let the children of Israel go to sacrifice, providing that they didn't travel too far, if Moses would intercede with the Lord to remove the flies. Moses did this, the Lord removed the flies, and yet again, the Pharaoh hardened his heart and refused to let the children of Israel go. So now, coming to chapter 9, we find the fifth plague that God would inflict upon Egypt. Before doing this, God warned Pharaoh to let the children of Israel go. Here again, God was asking for a full release, while Pharaoh had only ever agreed to a partial release before changing his mind. If he didn't release Israel, God would send a pestilence upon all the cattle in the field, including the horses, donkeys, camels, oxen, and sheep. This pestilence would be a severe disease that would kill the animals that it came in contact with. What specific type of disease it was is unknown, but whatever it was severe. Like he did with the previous plague, God also told Pharaoh that he would put a separation between the livestock of Egypt and the livestock of Israel. He would strike all of Egypt's livestock with pestilence, but he wouldn't strike any of Israel's livestock with pestilence. And also, like with the fourth plague, God again set a time when this plague would occur. It would occur the next day. Because a pestilence could be ascribed to natural occurrences, by placing a specific time period, the Lord was showing Pharaoh that this specific pestilence was from the Lord. After seeing 4 previous plagues come to pass, you would think that Pharaoh wouldn't want to see this plague come to pass and destroy the livelihood of those whom he ruled over. But that simply attests to the hardness of Pharaoh's heart. He had seen these plagues come, and he had seen these plagues taken away. He probably thought that he could endure this one as well, and if it didn't continue or spread, he could lie yet again to Moses in order to get this plague removed. When someone's heart is as hard as Pharaoh's, logical reasoning goes out the window, for he simply wanted to defy God. And so Pharaoh yet again disobeyed the voice of the Lord, and yet again the Lord brought the plague that he had promised upon Egypt. Verse 6 says that all the livestock in Egypt died. Since verse 3 said that the livestock in the field is that which would be affected, that is how we should interpret this verse. For in the 7th plague, we find that Egypt still had livestock remaining. Obviously, it was that livestock that wasn't in the field. However, with Pharaoh not believing God here, he likely didn't take this threat too seriously, and there the Egyptians would have lost a lot of cattle during this plague. Pharaoh in this case was curious, though, to see if the Lord had actually spared the livestock of the children of Israel, so he sent people to inquire, and lo and behold, none of Israel's livestock had died, not even one. Pharaoh thus could not chalk up this to a natural phenomenon or a mere coincidence. It had to be the finger of God again. However, just as before, these events didn't change the disposition of Pharaoh. He continued to harden his heart, so God would continue to punish him. We will finish with the second set of 3 plagues, the Lord willing, in the next episode. With that, our time is up for today. The Lord willing, we hope you'll join us for tomorrow's discussion of Exodus chapter 9, verses 8 to 12, as we continue our walk through the Bible, one verse at a time.
I'm not ashamed.
Thank you for watching today's episode. We hope that you found it edifying and ask that you not only subscribe to our channel and podcast, but that you like and share this episode among your friends, so that the saving gospel of Jesus Christ can go out to the whole world.
Of his cross.